This video is brought to you by Robinhood, the investment brokerage app that lets you buy stocks, ETFs, and crypto all commission free. Did you know since the start of the March stock market crash, over 800,000 new brokerage accounts have been created, and buying stocks was the third most popular thing that people spent their stimulus checks on? I know I did. So stop missing out and use the link in the description below. Get your free stock just for signing up, no deposit required. And finally, this is my real portfolio. What's up YouTube? Capital G here. Got some exciting and entertaining duels for you guys to check out. The Dark Lord archetype is getting some more support in Rise of the Duelist. They're getting a bunch of legacy cards, whether it be direct legacy support that is supposed to give you new options as to how you want to play the Dark Lord deck. For some reason, it's fusion based, which I still don't really love. It feels a little Duel Links territory to me, but they're also getting cards that just have the lore on it and aren't technically Dark Lord support, but just one forbidden drop is basically becoming a staple in the OCG, so like why not run it? It's just a good card overall. Anyways, let's see if Dark Lords are just Duel Links territory trash or if they can actually handle some decent decks. I think the Mermill deck is very strong, or you can call it water, deep sea Mermill, water dot deck, Atlantean Mermill, whatever at this point. We know that basically if you resolve Diva, you should be in a pretty good position. You should be taking out at least 2 to 3 cards in your opponent's opening hand by using some of those deep sea cards and also using Moulin Glacier. I mean, honestly, when you're comboing with like Mermill, it's basically impossible not to resolve Moulin Glacier in your first turn. So you're usually taking like 3 cards out of your opponent's hand. Now, I'm not certain about some of these other plays. I feel like Borreload Savage Dragon is the traditional follow-up that you go for. Heck, most of the builds go for Crystron Halifabrax, but not going that route. I think that this isn't terrible because you still do have that copy of the Abyss Scale of Mizuchi, and that can negate one of your opponent's spell cards, so you're not in terrible position. However, this kind of changed everything. This was an absolute awesome top deck, the Dark Lord of Pleasure. This is going to allow you to force a card on your opponent's side of the field and also get a search. The search of his shell obviously is important because now you can get fresh new cards. You're just going to go ahead and throw that Monster Reborn at your opponent. Is this the Roto or the Monster Reborn? Yeah, okay, this is the Monster Reborn. The good thing about Dark Lord specifically is while most archetypes you would have had to throw a spell at your opponent and then lose out on the spell, not in Dark Lords, because we know they can activate their cards basically from the graveyard. So when you throw a spell at your opponent and it gets negated, in Dark Lords, it doesn't really matter all that much. Anyways, revive the shell, start attacking over our opponent's monsters, take some out, and then check this out. We just pay 1,000 life points, and that Dark Lord contact that got negated, yeah, we still get the effect anyway, so it don't even matter. Now just gonna discard that shell, get the copy of Morningstar, normal summon the Morningstar using the effect of Condemned Dark Lord, which gives us the additional normal summon. And now we got like 4 monsters on board and we can start wrecking havoc. This actually is going to get us a negation and basically kind of set us up for victory. I think that is kind of impressive. I do think Dark Lords might need to be, I think they should go second. Like, I'm not seeing enough to go first. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the Sacrifice Dark Lord is a good card. It can negate one of your opponent's face-up cards, which I guess you can negate spells, but I mean, it's basically Hot Red Dragon Archery and Abyss. It also gives you the ability to gain some life points too, which is cool because this archetype burns through life points like crazy. And I think that, going second still gives you the option to run the card, maybe just not, you're not really reliant on it. Anyways, he made Appaloosa, and I wasn't sure why. If someone can explain why he made Appaloosa, like, you guys are gonna have to explain that to me. I think a lot of the Mermill players, they get in trouble because they often forget that when they lose Moulin Glacier, they don't get a battle phase. And that's what I think happened to him. He thought that he was going to attack, and then he was like, oh crap, I don't have Moulin Glacier. Anyways, he is going to activate just that one forbidden drop. That takes away the Appaloosa's attack value, and I think he's actually going to end up snatch stealing this whale, and then he is going to Xyz summon with it. Obviously, Dark Lords can Xyz summon because they got all types of high levels. Usually, it's rank 8, and after he attacks over Appaloosa, we're going to see a scoop phase. Basically, he knows that he has no chance of victory. Did that duel convince me? going to say on the level of 1 to 10 as far as me being impressed. I'm going to give that at least an 8. Yeah, I'll give it a solid 8. Anyways, let's see Crusadia and the El Dorado deck. Now, you guys know where I stand. I think that this is not the greatest matchup for El Dorado. I think it's kind of a hard counter because the way El Dorado really wants to play, outside of just the Halifabrax, going for synchro builds. But if you're playing pure El Dorado, you basically want to wall up with traps and outgrind your opponent. If your spells and traps get destroyed, it ain't no thing but a chicken wing because you know that they float anyways. However, this deck in particular, the Crusadia deck, says I'll pop your spells and traps, and we're not gonna have a long drawn out duel. We're just gonna basically kill you in that one turn. And also, when they summon their monsters, they summon these tokens and Ellic the Golden Lord. These cards are basically vanillas. They don't do anything. And that's exactly what Crusadia wants to see. Crusadia wants you to have big dumb vanillas on board because then they can just OTK you. So he did get lucky with the Lightning Storm, but don't worry, it's not a Lightning Storm victory. It ended up getting negated anyways by Golden Land Forever. And now I think, he's pretty much in good position. He is going to try to pop the copy of Crusadia Leonis, but nah, bro. He's got Crusadia. Is that Power? Crusadia Power? Yeah, Crusadia Power makes it so that he's unaffected by that. And you guys know when you get 2 Crusadia cards, it's GG no re. Essentially, as long as you can get your Crusadia Link 1 and you basically just, get the search off of it, a lot of times you're just going to be able to kill your opponent and you're easily going to be able to do enough damage unless they have like more interruptions. In this turn, not only does he have the double damage, but he also has Crusadia Revival, the field spell that gives him more attack and allows him to attack every monster. So it actually would have been easier, or I think that the El Dorado player technically would have been in a better position had he not summoned anything. Had he just let his spells and traps get blown up, he actually would have been in a better position because when you give Crusadia monsters, you allow them to kaiju you, and you also allow them to attack in the monsters, getting the piercing damage, getting the double battle damage, etc., etc. So yeah, he actually put himself in a worse position by going ahead and summoning. Anyways, let's see if we can run this back and see if, maybe the El Dorado deck can get off the ground, or I like to say get off the map. We'll see if he can pull off the W. Okay, the board looks pretty much the same. Hey, got another copy of Lightning Storm. I can see the comment section now. Cap G Lightning Storm .duels. Thanks for the quality uploads. Freaking Lightning Storm duels. Anyways, this time he won't be able to be saved by Golden Land Forever, but he kind of made the same exact mistake. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think it matters in this duel because this time he does have the Kaiju, which will, of course, give all his Crusadia Link monsters more attack. If you don't give Crusadia a monster, then usually they'll just like kaiju you and they'll be able to one-shot through the kaiju. Or I guess, no. Man, I think what you gotta learn about Crusadia is if you're playing them, if you really can't defend yourself well, just leave your field open. Like it sounds insane, right? Leaving your field open, but I promise you, against certain decks like Crusadia and Yugi's new Gaia cards from Rise of the Duelist, it's actually harder for them to OTK you when you have an open board because the damage is just, it's not amplified. Anyways, let's go ahead and check out the deck. So this is the Dark Lord deck, which we saw in the first duel. The monster lineup is a little all over the place. I do kind of like this though. Condemn Witch actually allows you to basically tutor for just 1 forbidden drop. That's really nice. We see this played in generators because this card allows you to get Forbidden Chalice, but I think you might start seeing more copies of just 1 forbidden drop where you would see Condemn Witch, because as of right now, Chalice is like the only good one. People don't really use Forbidden Lance and some of the other forbidden cards like Dress. People don't really use those cards anymore, but Forbidden Drop or just 1 forbidden drop, that will be a card that is also used. You see a lot of the old turbo elements. It is interesting to see a Dark Lord build that does not run Pot of Desires because I'm used to always seeing that card. However, I mean, when you have a shell and then you also have like Allure Darkness at 3, I guess you're perfectly fine. Like maybe you don't need all the draw power. I think that you might have enough draw power. You've got some traps here. We saw these traps used throughout the duel. I don't think you have to run multiple of the trap cards because generally you can resolve them, then use them from the graveyard, and then maybe search them in a following turn and use them again. So I think it's okay not to run like double copies of any of the trap cards. And of course, they're trap cards. They're mainly defensive cards anyways. Now when it comes to The Crusadia build, this one is a little different from what I'm used to seeing. I've probably shown, I don't know, 3 different builds of Blind Go Second Crusadia in the last month. This is the first and only build that I've seen that runs 4 Mud Skipper. This card is this is interesting. 4 Mud Skipper. I think I saw this at one point. People were trying to experiment with this in Salamangreats, and it's definitely an interesting card. I'm used to seeing Parallel Exceed at this point because Parallel Exceed summons itself very similar to Crusadia monsters, and you get 2 of them, which allows you to go into like Abyss Dweller and Traptrix Rafflesia and some other stuff. Technically even Utopia Double Cheese if you wanted to go that route, but it is interesting seeing this card in here of all things. The rest of the deck is pretty much like standard. You got your Kaijus, you got your board wipes, you got a little bit of hand traps, and then when it comes to like the spells that are searchable, man, so many builds. Maybe I'm just wrong. More and more builds are running multiple copies of Crusadia Power. I think, you know what I think it is? I think players want to hard draw this card. Maybe that's it, because I'm used to seeing 1 and 1, but now I'm starting to see people run 3-1 as the ratio. So yeah, maybe people are perfectly fine hard drawing this card and knowing if they hard draw it and don't need it, then they'll search Crusadia Revival with the Regulex, because you get either one of these cards for free through the process of your combo anyways. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the duels. If you did, give the video a thumbs up so we can help with the channel growth and so that we can help with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.